Now that the new chapter is out, and I have gotten experience both playing as and against the Houndmaster, including against decent survivors and killers, I can safely say that at the current state of the chapter, I do not recommend people to purchase the Houndmaster, because she is currently one of the most frustrating killers to play with. Now let me preface this by saying that all of it can be fixed in the future with some quality of life changes, and I am in no way comparing this killer with actual disasters like Original Legion or Chess Merchant. Those killers were fundamentally flawed in their design, they were incredibly unfun and needed drastic changes as soon as possible. The Houndmaster is similar to Original Knight in that they were both very buggy, and I am not talking about small bugs that can happen every now and then. I am talking about bugs that can potentially cost you a chase or at worst a match. Let's talk about that. The bugs with the Houndmaster are really frustrating, and they are all related to her dog. I find it crazy how Vecna and Dracula, two very complicated killers, have released with barely any game-breaking bugs. I can't say the same for the Houndmaster. She's one of the clunkiest killer releases since the Knight or the Xenomorph's introduction, only hers is worse. Let's start with the search command, which I already disliked on the PTB. Now on my PTB review video, I did say that with a bunch of fixes, she will feel better, and indeed on live, she does feel better, but this mechanic is still very clunky and extremely frustrating to use. The ability to aim to a generator in order to send the dog is extremely clunky, and sometimes it just does not work, and I have to move my camera a lot and waste precious time where I could be doing something else. Unlike with other killers whose powers felt incredibly smooth, with the Houndmaster, anytime I send the dog, it feels like the game stops and she just feels sluggish. Balance state wise, I don't even understand why does she get the slowdown while using the search command, since you cannot use it during a chase for any notable benefit, as you lose your speed up the moment you enter a chase with a survivor, and at most what you get is Hound Sense and tracking, which again is not that big of a deal, and other killers get it better. The search command is extremely annoying to use, and I sometimes accidentally move my mouse a bit. And now instead of going to the generator, the dog decides to go to a random spot on the map. And don't get me started on 2-floor maps. The Houndmaster is by far the most miserable experience I have had in 2-floor maps, and you need the precision of a surgeon in order to send your dog exactly where you want it. She feels slow both in aiming the search and both the slowdown she receives, which is weird because Vecna and Dracula feel so smooth when compared. I think what is even worse about this command is related to the other aspect of her power, the chase. If you send your dog far away to a generator, now you have to wait for the dog to come back in order to use your chase power. Sounds fair on balance, but the issue is that sometimes, especially if you move away from the search, the dog has to catch up with you first in order for you to use the power, and this leads me to sometimes not being able to use chase at all when I need it. It's not seamless, and you actually have to step back or stop moving in order for Snug to catch up to you so you can access your power, which is crazy to me. This is something that has consistently happened to me during my games, so imagine how frustrating it is when you literally cannot use your power. My fix for this is to either speed up Snug's speed even more when he returns from search, or have a failsafe where after a certain fixed duration, Snug will teleport back to the killer no matter what, so you can use your chase power guaranteed. And talking about the chase power, I will be completely fair and objective with her. She is hard to use, and she has a very nice skill ceiling, which I am sure her mains will improve with every passing day. My complaints are not related to my own skill issues, but it's related to clunkiness. Sometimes the chase command simply does not work, and it's mostly related to elevations or weird collisions. I've had this happen in various chases, where I use my dog but it does not come out, either because it got stuck or because simply the dog did not want to chase, and again, this feels very frustrating to play with. It's like if you had a random chance to jam your rifle when you shoot with the Deathslinger, that's how it feels like. Then, We also have to talk about how Snug will sometimes work against you instead of for you, and he will push the survivors away in loops. Scott John has shown various extreme examples of this situation, and admittedly, I have only had this happen twice on live, but it did happen on my PTB and I thought they would fix this. It's something that is extra annoying when it happens because not only did you successfully hit a hard skill shot that can be bugged sometimes, it actually helps the survivors reach a pallet so that Snug gets stunned. It seems like the way this power is programmed makes Snug bring the survivors back to the place where you use your chase power, which sometimes is just not the correct decision as it will change your position during a chase. So, instead of going for the survivor, the smartest choice sometimes is to stand still and wait for Snug to bring the survivors to you. So overall, what do you get? A hard skill shot that is very easy to miss as a killer and easy to dodge as a survivor that sometimes does not even work, and sometimes when it does, it works against you. She is in no way strong and I don't see her any close to A tier currently. In fact, I believe that she is weaker to the Knight in every single aspect. Anything the Houndmaster can do, Knight can do it better. But again, I would be very happy to be proven wrong once her mains start to discover new tricks and optimize her power like they did with Sadako. Balance wise, it's very early for me to give any suggestions to the devs in order to fix or buff her power. But one thing I do think is very weird is the fact that Hound Sense does not reapply on survivors that get found again if they already have it. You have to wait for the Hound Sense to stop in order to get it again. And let's be honest, Hound Sense is not a good status effect. It's okay at best, since the mending is kind of a good slowdown. But if that's overpowered, ask Legion and Deathslinger why nobody considers them top tier killers, when both of them get mending in basically every single chase, whereas with Houndmaster, you have to M1 the survivors that get searched by the dog. Survivor wise, I am having a lot of fun playing against this killer, and the reason why I am having fun is because it took me one match in order to learn how to play against her. She is fun because in the survivor's end, I feel like she's very weak, and the last time I had this fun playing against a new killer was with Vecna on the PTB, who everyone will remember as being the contender for one of the worst killers in the game. However, despite this, just like with Vecna, I feel like she's well designed and has a chance at redemption. With a bunch of changes which hopefully come soon, I will recommend her, as she is fun when she works. But currently, I simply cannot recommend this killer to anyone. Get her with shards if you have them saved up, and you got the rest of killers already. But don't buy her if you still have other killers locked. Artist comes with fantastic perks and she is stronger in every single aspect. Cenobite is objectively better than her in every single aspect too. Clown is easier to play and gets results with less effort. There is nothing that excels from the Houndmaster when I start comparing her to other killers, except when compared to characters like post-rework Scully or Trapper. Now, if you know my content, I would not let this fact slide. Let's talk about her new Visceral cosmetic, which in my personal opinion is the biggest scam currently in DBD, and if you're planning on buying this, let me tell you as someone who bought it, this cosmetic is not worth it at all. The devs showed that they finally learned how to make killer power cosmetics, and the first example of this is the legendary Houndmaster skin, which replaces Snug for a completely different dog. This is amazing and something we have been asking for years. However, the way they did it is absolutely bad. First of all, outside of the Snug visual change, there is absolutely nothing else unique from this skin. There are no new voice lines, no new sound effects or different animations for the weapon. She feels exactly the same as classic Houndmaster does. Worst part is that she is a Visceral Rarity legendary skin. Legendaries which are supposed to be licensed like the Iron Maiden skins, and the Visceral which are supposed to include a Mori animation. But she comes with no Mori animation and there is absolutely no reason she is a legendary. This is still the Houndmaster, Portia May. So can anyone explain to me why this skin costs 20 bucks instead of 15 like the rest of legendary and ultra rare skins? This is the most expensive cosmetic in the entire game, and even if she costs 17, you have to get 20 bucks in Oryx cells in order to purchase her. So for all accounts, she is a $20 cosmetic. $20 for a single cosmetic, which at the best looks very rare and is an absolute scam. And it feels like behavior is taking advantage of the doggo hype the community has in order to get extra money. If you like the clothes of this skin but not the dog, or in reverse, if you like the dog but not the clothes, you are also out of luck, because this is obviously a set, which is trash because it would be cool to be able to change the dog individually as an extra cosmetic option, and if that were the case, I think the price would actually make sense, because you technically are buying 4 cosmetic pieces instead of 3, so if that were the case again, I would be defending behavior on the price. Naughty Bear is an absolute masterpiece, and he costs 15 bucks, and you get a completely new model, new animations, new voice lines, a new Mori, and come on, you're playing Naughty! Tiffany Valentine gets a completely new voice actress with a shit ton of new voice lines. With this cosmetic, all you get is a poodle for 20 bucks. If all future skins that change the powers come with a $20 price cost, my recommendation for all of you is to please save your money and do not buy this cosmetic. I did because I am a content creator and I earn money with these types of videos, and I want to showcase to my community that this cosmetic is absolutely not worth the price. It's not the worst legendary cosmetic, but it does not feel as the most expensive skin in Dead by Daylight. And before I finish this video, I wanted to talk about the new Survivor as well. For the majority of us, Survivors are just new cosmetics, so if you enjoy Taurie Cain visually and you like the cultist and alt aesthetic she got, absolutely get her. But if you're debating on buying her because of her perks, let's talk about that. I said this on my PTB video, and after using her more, I can confidently say that her perks are by far the least new player and casual friendly in the entire game. There is not a single perk of hers that I think would be amazing for a new player or a casual build, as they are all either troll perks, which are completely worthless, or an absolutely busted competitive perk, which is trash in solo queue. Clean Break is an interesting concept that is hurt by the numbers it has. This perk activates after you heal a survivor, and it doesn't have to be a full heal. As long as you participate in the end of the heal, the perk activates. Anytime another survivor is healing you, instead you can press the active button to become broken, and after 1 minute you will get healed back. The idea of this perk is to save time for the healing and instead work on something else, or use it well timed in order to get a health state while in a chase, similar to Moment of Glory from Trevor Belmont, which is actually a perk I would recommend, especially after the shadow buff. In every single situation I have used this perk, I thought to myself, why not just let the teammate heal? It works on situations where you get interrupted, that's for sure, but it's still 1 entire minute to heal, a minute where you are vulnerable and have to play safe. In one situation, a teammate was repairing a generator instead of letting me activate Clean Break, which would have been optimal on that situation. So personally, what I think would be fantastic for this perk and actually make it a strong pick is if you could activate it on self heals. And that way, with one medkit, you could have various passive heals anytime you heal someone else. Do you think that would be too overpowered? Let me know in the comments. But as it is right now, Clean Break is very meh. You need to strategically think when to activate it, and in a solo queue environment or as a casual, this perk is very hard to get value from, as casuals are not okay with staying injured for 1 entire minute. Then we have Invocation Treacherous Crows, and let me tell you something fun about this perk. If you thought you would be able to combine this with Sable's Invocation, let me burst your bubble, because that is not how this perk works. You actually have to individually invocate each perk, all with their own unique icons, which is cool, but gameplay wise, spending 2 entire minutes on the basement in order to get mediocre effects at the cost of being broken for the rest of the match, and also risking being broken for 1 entire minute in the basement, is absolutely crazy, and I don't know what behavior was cooking with this. Even if this invocation could stack, I do not think it would have been game breaking, as the penalty for it is absolutely massive. Treacherous Crows in itself is a decent perk when compared with Sable's perk, but it still sucks against undetectable killers, so against a Wraith for example, this perk is completely worthless, and this is also the second time a survivor with an invocation comes with a self-healing perk, so enjoy playing the Adept with one perk less. Again, this is another perk that if a casual uses, it's a guaranteed win for the killer unless they also play poorly. The time investment on this is way too much and it's seen as a troll pick because most of the times it is. Even if this perk did stack with weaving spiders, I would still not recommend this for casual players at all, and newbies, please stay completely away from it, do your teammates a favor. And finally, we have the spiciest perk and one of the craziest ones behavior has ever created, Shoulder the Burden. If you have been watching content creators, you would know that this perk is being hyped up very much, and don't get me wrong, this is an absolutely game-changing perk to the level of reassurance and hyper-focus, but unlike those two perks where you can make a build around them in solo queue, Shoulder the Burden does not work if you are a casual player or a solo queue player. So, if you are a competitive player that tryhards every single match as if money is on the line with a competitive team, then I absolutely recommend this perk and it will be a complete game changer in your Survive with Friends matches. I know the majority of you watching this video are not like that. So why do I think this perk is not good for you? To put it simply, without a plan, this perk is completely useless. The strong aspect of it comes when various survivors have it and they are competent enough to use them strategically in order to force the killer to hook the same survivor various times. It's basically the best anti-tunnel perk in the entire game that completely counters the weak link and hard tunnel problem that Dead by Daylight has. However, smart killers that proxy camp the hooks make this perk completely useless as you get the exposed status effect, and even if you didn't, the killer can just trade hooks with yourself and now you are on death hook without ever being in a chase against the killer. Basically, what I am trying to say is that if you are a casual player or someone that cannot confidently say without any ego that you are above average, then this perk is not for you. This perk is for those survivors that can hold their own ground and keep the killer in a chase for ages, so hook states do not matter to you because you are good. If you are a solo player and you think you are above average, why would you take the hook state of a useless teammate that will go down either way? Overall, Taurie is completely not beginner friendly and I do not recommend her for newer players at all. There are very good survivors like Zarina Kassir or Rebecca Chambers which are significantly better to buy, and if you really want her perks, you can try and wait on Shoulder the Burden in the shrine because with original characters, their perks usually come to the shrine in some weeks. So, a buggy but fun killer, and a very non-casual friendly survivor. Those are the reasons as to why I would not recommend this chapter as of right now. But let me know if you disagree with any points I made, as I am looking forward to seeing how you feel about this new killer. As always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.